Hello, everybody. I think we are live. So if you guys can just confirm if you guys are can see my screen, please let me know. Just drop a message in the channel here so I can see. Again, it is my second time doing live, so it's a little bit confusing, but I will try to share my knowledge as best as I can. So just drop me a message, and I know that we have a delay, but drop a message if you can see my screen. I think everybody can see it. Yeah, I can listen myself, so I'm turning this off. And yeah, let's start. Like, I will just minimize this for a while so we can focus here on the things I want to show you guys. And uh, I will not be able, because I don't have a moderator right now, so I will not be able to answer questions or see or message during the live because I'm not that used to this. But again, if you want to reach me, you can contact me on Twitter, or you can drop a message after the live and I can try to solve your doubts, okay? But I will share as much as I can for about 1 hour to create this landing page. And I want to show you a little bit of the process, the things that I do for something like this, and yeah, trying to help you out with my knowledge. So first, how I created the concept, of course, using these days Midjourney or any other like AI platform. So I just dropped some text like prompts about chocolate landing pages and like chocolate packages, and then like Midjourney like give me all of those beautiful concepts. To be honest, all of them are great. So all of them could be used to create another kind of a page. But yeah, I decided those are also very, very beautiful. This one as well, like is someday I will try to mimic this one. But yeah, the one that I decided to go with was this one here. And then like for the final design, what I did was just to stretch to make it wider. And yeah, you can see here all the pieces coming out. So it is very poor work, nothing to, because I don't have Photoshop. So I was in lack of time to edit the image properly. And this will be a 3D model anyway. So yeah, that's important because we need to have a visual reference, like a visual thing to look at. And then we can refer for lighting, for textures, for colors. That's why it is important to do something like this. And also what I did was like to bring some colors out of the image, just using the color picker on Figma or any other tool, just so we can have like the overall colors for the scene. And after that, what I did was to 3D model. Like I don't want to build this entire thing on the inside Three.js because that will be overkilling. We don't need to. So because I have knowledge in 3D software, Blender, I used Blender. Let me show you very quickly the 3D model for this scene. It is pretty basic, as you guys can see. So we just have a chocolate bar, which is pretty basic, nothing too fancy. I'm using the bevel and the subdivision. So let me turn it off so you see it's even worse than it looks like, but we'll do the trick. So I'm using just the subdivision to give a little bit of more like round edges like here. And then for the pack, it is just a cube with UV unwrap. So it is also like pretty basic, just the face front with the UV unwrap, and the rest is here. So we can also change the color if we want by moving this, as you guys can see there on the edge here, the color changing. But I don't want to, so I want to keep this way because I want to change the texture when we hover it using shaders. So hopefully we will do this today. Let's see. And yeah, that's the process. So what I did, I exported both of these objects using like GLTF exporter. So file, export, and then GLTF. And then we will move forward from here. I did not export it the plane because I don't need to. Like Three.js will provide one for us. So I'm not using the plane. I'm just using here. And I created a pretty like basic rendering setup so I can also like see how the scene will look like, how the colors would be. But I think we can get better result in Three.js, to be honest. Like because I was just using one light setup, no environment map, so the colors are not that beautiful. But I have a reference for shadows the way I want, and of course I'm trying to mimic what we have on Figma. Ah, and by the way, the pack is not the same because I could not generate the same image for the package as a texture using Midjourney. So I had to create another one with another prompt. That's why the pack looks differently from the reference image. But anyway, it's just a reference. So we are done with the Blender. I will not use it anymore. So let's move forward. I'll minimize the Figma. And yeah, let's start by, and I will close this. Let me close the live. I think I can close this one too. And let, so first what we need something that can enable us to create something like this on Three.js. And my process is not to create everything from like the ground because we have so many good examples on React Tree Fiber website. So what I do, and I spend a lot of time playing with those demos, and this is very important for you to do so because then you can find your reference. You can find like the thing that will enable you to create something like this in a quicker way. So let's start by going into the React Tree Fiber website, and then I go to yeah, so my resolution is huge. So I did not have time to play with the scale, and I know probably this is not very good to see on mobile. I'm sorry. Next time I will try to set up everything properly so people on mobile can also use this and view this because my resolution will probably be too small for you to see this. But anyway, so I'm in the React Tree Fiber website, and then looking through all these beautiful examples, and we will see where we would use a lot of this. Uh, we have this guy here, like this baking soft shadows. Also, these stage presets can be, but this one looks exactly the same. So when I saw this Figma design that I created on Midjourney, I look at to these shadows and I remember like in the moment this demo here. So I said, okay, we will use this one. And this is the way I start my things. So I will go there, and thanks like Paul Henschel and all the Poimenders community for enabling us to use this kind of thing, to have something to work with like without too much trouble. So yeah, we already have the scene as you guys can see. Like so our work will start by changing this, by removing like those objects and placing our model here. So first I will fork this, and hopefully it will work. My internet connection today is kind of buggy. Yeah. So I will rename this to chocolate page so I can like find it because I have so many things on my code sandbox. It's hard to find things. So yeah, now we need to replace the model. So let's do it. Again, I already have the GLB file that I exported from Blender. So I will go to gltf.poimandres, and then I will find on my computer the file that I just exported there. And I think it is this one. Let me check. Drag and drop. And yeah, we have it. It is here, the chocolate bar, the exact same thing we were seeing on Blender. Using this tool, we can get the component, so we can export the component to use on our scene. So I will copy everything. You can also use this guy here, exports, copy to clipboard, and then, yeah, here, what I will do, I will create a new file called chocolate.js. Oh, this is the one that I was working before. I need to keep this open because we will need to refer some things there that I want to show you. Yeah, and I paste, great. And then on public, I also need the file, so I need to drag and drop. Hopefully, yeah, it works. Because I'm out of the space on Code Sandbox, I need to buy a subscription anyway. So yeah, we have it. So by default, I want to export this as chocolate model just to have a different name. I will save this. And then on app.js, I will replace the Suzanne, like that, like monkey model, by the chocolate model. And thanks to the autocomplete, like it is as simple as that. Like you replace and it should work. Let's see. Let me give a refresh. Yeah, and as you guys can see, for some reason, it is not saving. That's always the case when I'm doing things live. So let's try again. Chocolate model, save, please save. Yeah, let me do a full restart to see. Maybe it is something wrong with the autocomplete. Yeah, it was. So yeah, now we have the chocolate, and let me remove the other models because actually we don't need them. And this is when things get like interesting because the difference from this render and of course this one, it is basically the lighting. So, and most people stop here. So they just import the model and they are okay, they are done. But there are crucial things you need to tweak on your file and your light setup to get better results on the rendering. So in this specific scene, like we only have the randomized light, but I don't think we have any lights. So if I search here for a directional light or something, we don't have it. So this light, it is happening through the environment. So if I comment this out, everything is black. So we are relying just on that one. And we can use that, and we will use that in a moment, but I want to show you how like different you can get results when you use lights. So I will use a directional light here, and I will put like a position. Let's try some magic numbers. -10, 10, -80. Let's see what happens. Probably I'm on the wrong side, as you guys can see. Yeah, so we have it, and then of course the intensity is too weak, so let's increase the intensity, too strong, and then things got even worse. So now we have light, but it is not working as expected, and then we need to play, of course, with the positions, because again, positioning the light, it is crucial, like for having a good light result. And we are like using the accumulative shadows and the lights, and they are not impacting each other, which is great. But yeah, as you can see, I need to add more lights if I want to have a better result. And I also want, let me add another one in the opposite place. And let's try not too far. Yeah, it's a little bit better. And then I need to add an ambient light here as well with an intensity. Let's try 0.5. Let's see what happens. And yeah, as you can see, it is progressively getting better, but again, no reflection. So this is important. This thing here is using a kind of material that is reflexive. And to have reflections, we need to have an environment. And that's where people stops because they keep adding lights. And the problem is the performance. When you add that much light to your scene, we will eventually have problems with the performance. So instead, what we can do is to use another reference from the React to Fiber documentation, and they are using like the the let me light former. Yeah, I don't think we have a reference here, but I know those that are using light formers, and this specifically one is using light formers. This one as well. So light formers enable you to create your own environment map using React Tree Fiber, which is like amazing because environment maps can light your scene without like lights, basically. So you have free performance using lights and lighting up your model like pretty quickly and beautiful without impacting performance. So I want to show you usually what I do, and then I will copy and paste the values that I already have. But just for you guys to know, like this is light formers and this is the component they are using. So in this specific case here, they are also animating the light former, which is like the animation is happening inside the live environment map. This is like crazily beautiful. And again, no impact on performance. This is not a light moving. They are animating an element inside the React Tree Fiber Light Former, the NV map, the HER map, if you want, if you prefer. So if I just grab, for example, those guys here, and I will try to do it, but then I have mine, but let's try it. So I will copy those guys. And as you can see, this needs to be inside the environment component. It is a like a subcomponent of environment. So let's try to do that on ours. So we already have, so if I comment this, uncomment this, we will see that automatically we get better lighting because now we have an environment and we have a lot of presets here. So let's try, for example, the apartment. And let's see, yeah, so different presets gives you different light results. But again, we need to find the proper values. And I want to show you how I do it. So I will replace this momentarily and I will open this component so I can paste. And of course, we need to have the light former being ported from Dre as well. And yeah, we have it, but like what are those numbers, like how they work and where they come from? Like it is very confusing because we can't see the results. So what we can do like is active the background property, and now I can visualize what are those numbers, what they are doing, and what kind of lights they are creating in on my scene. And as you guys can see here, like I can see the light shining on my object. And what I do now, because I don't want to spend too much time, I will copy those values from here because in this scene I have the exact same thing, but with different numbers that I've been playing with like back and forth until I found something that is like beautiful basically. So I would do copy and paste, and yeah, automatically. And again, if I enable the background here, you guys will see what is happening like under the hood. So these are those things are lighting up my scenario, my scene, like, and that's it. I don't think I need a light, so let me comment out all those lights. Yeah, actually, I don't even need a light. So if I remove all the lights in my scene and I keep the environment, it looks great. But I think I'm using a light on this thing here. Yeah, I'm just adding a light because I will be using let me close. I will be using different kind of materials. So yeah, I will add a light here so we can have this shining part here. But yeah, so this is how we transfer and how we can make things look beautiful inside React Tree Fiber. Because of course, if you spend less time doing this, we will not get the same results. And also on accumulative shadows, I inverted the shadows position. So here, yeah, I just changed the position, I think. Let me check. And this is all that I've done prior to this, like to our like session here. I just make it different, like a little bit. So yeah, the position is different. Oh God, yeah. instead of, I will copy those numbers and I will show you what they do. But I think I just like change the X and the Z position so we can have this kind of shadow, trying to mimic the one that we have for the layout, basically. And I think maybe it is too spread on the Y. Let me make it, yeah, I kind of like it. Like, let me increase the radius. And again, that's the beautiful part of React 3 Fiber because you can change and see changes, like change things on the code and see changes in like real time with no performance impact or anything else. So then we have it, the scene. Let's move forward. One thing that I also changed here, I think, like we are using the center component and it is working great. But I think I need to change the position. Yeah, I think it is already centered. So I would just change the camera position to be lower to match a little bit better the design. The camera position, because I'm changing it directly here, it is not like this exactly the same as when we change components parameters. So we need to refresh to see the new camera position when we change. But yeah, this is 2 up. So let's try 0.8. And yeah, it is a little bit better, maybe closer 5 and 3, not too twisted. And then I'm trying to mimic the same thing that we see on this Figma design, okay? Another thing that I want to change is the orbit control's default position because it is kind of looking up and I want it to look a little bit down. So I will just create a new target position here, pass a new prop, and then I will use probably 0.5 and 0. Let's see. Yeah, and then I don't need to make it, yeah, I think I need, but I need to decrease it a little bit, this number. And again, just magic numbers. It is kind of centered, as you guys can see. So yeah, now we can move forward creating the other stuff that I want to show you guys. We still have kind of half an hour. So the next step will be to creating the overlay. So this is confusing for some people. So I want to explain how I do, or basically how I like replicate the things that I always do. So you guys again can have references to do this in your own way instead of coding everything from scratch. So we need a HTML overlay to hold all of those like HTML basic elements. So the texts, those things, they don't need to be inside React 3 Fiber. They can live in an overlay in front of our scene. So we also have references for that when we search in the documentation, in basically all of them, but I will be using the one that I created with Paul Henshaw, this configurator. It is using an overlay, so we will copy the things that we have here, and I will explain to you like during the process. So this is the component is being added like in top or together with the canvas. And as you can see, if I comment this out, I will not comment because I will fork this, but yeah, this is the component being used there. So what I will do, I will copy. I don't think we need to copy everything here. So yeah, because this is animated and for now we don't need to animate. So I will show you the process so we can reference to this one, but I will not copy it like fully. So yeah, first thing we need is an overlay, like as we can see here, an overlay component exporting like some divs so we can use. So let's do it. I will go to my here and I will create overlay.js and then I will export default function overlay. And yeah, here we will return, let's return for now just a header. And in this header, I will have just a hello h1 or h2. So we can see something. Yeah, nothing will work because we are not importing it. So now on index.js, instead of rendering just the app, as we can see here, we need to probably return two different things. Let me see if we need to return. Yeah, no, we just need a fragment. Every time, like, we need to return more than one element using React, we need to use the fragment, which means kind of an empty div without being a div. Yeah, and then here I can also do overlay. I love this auto importing function. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, we have it. So it is out of place, no styles, but we have like our overlay to look and to work with. So now what we need to, it is to change the font on the HTML. And yeah, we are using Enter. So let's go to Google Fonts. And I think I'm already using it here. Yeah, exactly. I don't need all those, but I will keep them. So I will choose import, copy this, go to our CSS file, and then on top of it, I will import it. And then font family, I will place this font on, I can close this one. I will place, oh God, I closed the one that I was working with. So let me go back. This happens. I think we also, oh no, it is this one. Oh, it is a mess. I'm sorry. So yeah, in this one, no, God. Oh, and it's difficult. It is so many things. Yeah, so now we have the same file, great. And now like we can go here and I will just make the body font Inter so we can see there. And now we can move forward like creating like our things. There are some other things that I like to do as setup every time I do an overlay. So again, I will copy things from this file because I'm so used to, and this is my working process anyway. So we need to probably fix the box sizing. This guy here, it's always a problem. Like, and this like will help us to change the paddings inside elements without impacting like on issues, having issues. So this is important. And also overflow hidden and select known on like body HTML, and so we can get rid of the scrolling like bar on the right side. Yeah, so now what we can do, like let's style our header. So header, and this is like CSS, like pretty basic. So we will like make padding, let's say 20 pixels. Yeah, it is a little bit better. I will position this absolute. So this is important. You see, when we don't position, let me get this like a background. So background color black. So if we don't position it absolute, what is happening? It is making our canvas like above it or like in a sequence as a normal HTML element. So we need to place this as in a position absolute so we can get it above our our like canvas. And actually we will have more elements, so we will wrap everything like with another uh, uh, div that will be like the wrapper, but we will be doing that in a moment. Actually, let's do it right now. So let's go to the overlay. And of course, I will not have only the header. I will have other elements like the footer. So I will create like a wrapper here. So I will do div class name wrapper. and then embrace all of this with this guy. And then on wrapper now, we can do position absolute on the wrapper instead of the header only, because everything will be living in front of our project. So you have the padding. I will make like display flex for this one, and we will see why like in a minute. Let me increase a little bit. So I want 30 probably on the top, yeah, on the right side, 40. So we can match the space from top and bottom. So the same space we have here on horizontal way is the same as the vertical. And yeah, we need to fix the name. It is Liache, so we can just place a different thing here. Yeah, and then for the menu, those will be like probably a UL. And again, I'm not trying to be semantic. This is not production, okay? It's just for me trying to share what I know. Li, and then let's see, it is about us. Oh, I can't use like the shortcut for duplicating lines as I do on Visual Studio. So product about us and probably products, and then get in touch, I think. Yeah. Yeah, great. So now we have the I will give like this also a class name menu. Okay, save. Let's go there. CSS file dot menu. Let's remove the styles for the unordered list. So UL. Oh no, it is. What is the property? I can remember. I think it is list style known. Yeah, and then we can also make this display inline probably. No, we need to make it display flex as well. Yeah, let's give a gap between them. Let's try 10 pixels. It needs to be more. The font size is too big, so font size, let's try 14 pixels. Too much. 13, yeah, something around that. And then we need to make like some alignments because they are all messed up. So for the header, we can do just, let's do it visually because this is the way I do. I'm lazy, guys. So I try my best to not spend time learning things that I don't need to. So if I can do it visually, I will definitely do it. So if I try to find, what I did was to copy the address for the page running so I can see this in another section, like as you can see. And then I go there on the header and I can see the problem that it is not like filling the entire page, which I want. So what I can do, it is to width 100 VW, and then what I can also do is to align things. So I'll align them vertically, and I will space everything like using space between, and then we have it. So we can do it visually. And now I copy those properties here, and I go back to our page. In the header, I just place them and they are working. Pretty easy to do and visually much better. We can do the same for the footer. So let's add a very basic footer here. I can remember what I wrote for, it is Mancini Chocolate Company Limited. And yeah, for the footer, we want this to be on the bottom of the page, so I will do the same. I will do footer, uh, position also absolute, and I will make bottom probably 5%. Oh, actually, that's another problem. Let's refresh here so we can see it visually. I think the wrapper is not filling the entire page, and that is the problem we are seeing. So let me see. Yeah, the wrapper is not like 100 VH, so we need to make it height 100 VH, and now we can have the footer going on the bottom. So let's change this for the wrapper. Yeah, and then I would make it 7, a little bit around this. So we need to center it. I could make it with full width, but I will use transforms because they are easy. So the left will be 50%, and then we need to subtract the the length of it so we can transform, and then oh god, transform, transform, translate y by 50%, minus 50%. Oh, not y, sorry, the x. So we have it centered. And then the font size, I think it is 36. Maybe it's too big, but let's try. Font size 36 pixels. Yeah, it's kind of big. Let me do it like 26 or something. The letter spacing is also adjusting there, minus 2 pixels, maybe too much, so it needs to be 1. And then font weight, I think we need to increase to be something like bold. Yeah, kind of, it is done. So yeah, it is working. And because we are using the select none, like we can select texts here, everything is working, which is great. But if you add something like a background or something on this wrapper, so let's do it. So I will make like this background color black. Uh, and yeah, because this is not using Z index and we don't have buttons, we don't have problems with the clicking on the scene, but this might happen with you. So you need to remember that every time you place something in front of the canvas, the Z index will be an issue. So if this happens, remember to change the wrapper to be above your canvas scene, and then we can like interact with the scene. But again, this is the thing that I want to do here. What I also want to do is like not request the user to click and drag to interact with my scene. And I think now this is too bright, like this light here is too intense. Let me drop this for like 3. Yeah, much better because that was exploding this side here. So yeah, I don't want to like request the user to click and drag. I want them to move the mouse and then they can like see the interaction happening. And actually, again, let's take a look how this is done here because this is exactly what is happening here, but it's using a different technique. So what they are doing here, what we are doing here, because I created this together with Paul. So we are using this camera rig component, and as you can see, we are moving like the group position, and the camera rig is receiving the objects on the scene, like the backdrop, the scene, and like everything else. So we can try to do that, but probably it would be better if we move the camera instead of the objects, because probably the accumulative shadows would be having problems when we move that. Let's try. To be honest, I don't know. Let's try. So again, we will copy this guy here, place this new component. I can remove Suzy because we are not using it anymore. And now it is complaining about things that I'm not importing from React. So we are not using use effect, but an easy use ref. We don't need Vautio, so I'm not using for now this. We also need to import use frame from React Fiber because use frame is like from there. And easing is from math, so I'm not importing math there, and for I need it to use, so I need import math. I don't think I have like the dependency. This is another advantage of using Code Sandbox. When you save, it will probably complain about a missing dependency or not. Uh, yeah, for some strange reason, I think because I'm not using it, it is not complaining about, but it should be because I need to install this easing from math, which I don't have in this. So I will use this here. And then let's see, we don't, it is not complaining because I'm not using it. So that's why I just created a component, but I did not embrace anything there. So everything here, it is measuring the interface. So when the state is one thing, they place in another like position. Like I don't need all of this. So I would not change for now the camera position. Let's try to change the object's position, which is this guy, this line is doing. So it is basically changing the group rotation uh, based on your mouse position. So yeah, the group is created here and they have a ref receiving the children of this component. So that's why it needs to be embracing. The elements will be moving with your mouse. So let's again just copy here and I will embrace my group of objects. So I don't need to embrace the light because the light will be not moving with the mouse, but I do need to embrace the chocolate model. I don't know if I need to embrace the center, but let's see. Camera. Ah, the entire thing, including, yeah, let's try to include the accumulative shadows in the equation. Yeah, it is working. So it is doing all at the same time, the left and right and top and bottom. And I don't want the top and bottom. I just want the left and right. So I can change it here. So in the y-axis, the rotation for the group embracing those objects, I will keep this 0. Oh, it is the opposite. So we need to keep this guy here as 0. And then we have it. So now when we move the mouse, and then like we can, if you want to make it faster or to get more the mouse position, we can just play with that number. So 2 is too much. Let's try 4. Yeah, it is okay. Great, we have it. And now comes the fun part. So what I want to do, I want to change the background. Let's try to do in the 15 minutes that we have. I will try to change the background position and the texture when we hover it using like some kind of custom shader or something like this. So let's see. First thing we need is to create an interaction. So for the chocolate model, and I will do it probably inside the chocolate model because it is easier to do like inside here. But let's see the problems that we will be facing like using this approach. But yeah, and then we need to have like some kind of console so we can see when we hover things. And again, let's search for a reference. Let's go back to React 3 Fiber documentation. And I know they are doing this in some of these examples. Let me just remember which one we have a hover effect on a model. Actually, the basic one, the introduction scene is doing this. So this live demo here, uh, yeah, they are using the on point over, on point out, and they are hovering. So we can see they are changing the color of it when we hover. So we can mimic this. So what I will do, I will copy those guys, those events, and they are doing it on a mesh. So on our scene here, I want to change, maybe let me see if the group have on point. Yeah, they have it. So I will try on group itself. Let's see what happens. and then they are changing a state. So I need to have a state probably. Yeah, hovered. So we need to have a state. We need to import state from React. And yeah, I think that's all. It is complaining about something that I'm not aware of. So let me see what is happening here. Probably it is because I'm closing this thing before I should be, because they are using other props here. I guess I messed something out. Yeah, let me undo this, like reverse, and then do it again with more calm, because probably I copied something that it's not working well. So yeah, those two guys here needs to be before closing the mesh component. So again, I'm doing this on group, so let me do it here. Oh God, it is difficult when you copy and paste stuff. So I think it will work. So let's give a try. I'm not doing anything because I need to change something when we hover. So I don't think we are changing anything. Yeah, so they are changing the color here when the hover state is true or false. Let's do the same. So I'll copy this guy, and on the package material, which I don't know exactly which one it is. So what I do, I comment some property. So it is not this one, it is this one. Easy. So we will make this material color to change. So let's replace this material with a default one so we can manipulate the color. Mesh basic material. And yeah, let's see hot pink when it's hovered. So let me refresh. I think something is wrong, but anyway, yeah, it is working. So we can see now when we hover, we have the effect. Of course, we lost like the the material and etc. But yeah, at least we have something there. When we hover, we can interact. And I'm changing just this one, but the hover actually works in the entire group, as you can see. Even when I hover on the chocolate bar, we can see that change. So okay, we already have something to interact with. What I can do also, let me try to keep the map. So the map will be equals to this guy, which is the old texture imported from Blender dot map. Can I have the same, like the color and the map at the same time? Yeah, we can. So we have the texture, and then we have when we hover, we have like a hover effect, which is great. But this is not what I want to do. I want to create like a kind of a hover effect on that guy to change the texture when we hover it. So again, find references. I remember that I saw an example here a while ago. I think it is this guy here, like shader materials. Let's take a look. And this, I think, is doing exactly what we want. Yeah, so it is doing this like black magic with shaders, changing like a plain texture. And this will work exactly the same for our scene, but instead of changing the texture on a plane, we will be changing the texture on an object. But they work the same. So again, we will copy and paste the base of our work. Uh, so we have this fading image as the final scene, and this final scene is giving us like a plane with a mesh and etc. But actually what we need is just the material, so we can use that material like in something that we did like ourselves. And I think I have a better example, but I will try to mimic this one. And if it doesn't work, we can refer to mine. So yeah, I will copy all of those lines, all the export and etc. Let's go to our scene, and I will be placing inside the chocolate because this is the only component using this change material for now. And yeah, shader material, we need to import this probably from Dre. Yeah, and use texture as well. So I will copy those two guys and I will import it here. Yeah, it will complain also about the extend because I also need to import the extend from fiber, and I'm not importing anything from fiber inside here. So let me copy, paste it here. Yeah, I don't need canvas, but I would need extend and use frame. So yeah, now we have the shader material here. And let's analyze what is happening here. So they are receiving two different textures as props and also a displacement as a prop. So let's try to mimic that. So for the fading image, using the component using like the image material, this guy here, it is a material, so I don't think we can use this guy directly. So I don't think we need to use the fading image because we don't have an image, we have an object. So I will copy this image fade material and I will replace this guy here by this one. We will have a lot of problems. First, we need a reference. So baby steps. Let's create a reference inside our chocolate model. We need those textures, like the texture 1 and the texture 2. So I have them. We will import this in a minute. So let's first import the things we need to import a texture. So they are using, let me close this one because this is confusing me. Yeah, so they are importing those textures this way. So they are creating a use texture, passing like the paths for each texture. So yeah, let's do it together. So here, and then we of course need the images. I will call them like text one, then text two, and then the displacement. Let me just check because maybe something happened to my live and I'm talking and talking. Let me just check if it is working because I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so. Let me just go to the YouTube. When messages are coming this like much, yeah, I'm still live. So okay. Uh, let's move forward. So and then I need the displacement. I think I have this guy on my machine, but yeah, I will try those. I will save, it will give me a lot of errors because they are complaining the textures are not there. So yeah, let's place the textures. So for my chocolate page, I have the texture 1 and the texture 2 here. Yeah, those are the two that I'm using. And I will just rename them and they are PNG. So text 1, then text 2. Hopefully my account will fit two JPEG, two PNGs. Yeah, PNG and PNG. And now we are missing the displacement, PNG. Now we are missing the displacement, so let's find the displacement. I think I have this in another project that I did this other day, 13.jpg. It is so many. I think it is this one. Yeah, let me upload this one as well. So we will stop complaining. Hopefully it will work. At least we can see something. The interaction will not work, of course. Yeah, and it is upside down because all the textures when you load is upside down. But yeah, so we need to change those textures. So let's do texture 1 dot flip y equals false or true. I can't remember the default value. Yeah, it is this. Let's also flip the second one because this will give us a problem for sure. Yeah, and then now we need to create the interaction, like the way we detect the hover and then like the change. And the change is happening because they are, as you guys can see here, they have like we have this displacement factor. And this displacement factor, it is a uniform on the shader, and this uniform is controlling how much the displacement and the change between those two should work. And again, we are doing the same, so we need to have this use frame stuff here. So use frame is the way you have access to the frame loop inside the elements from the default Three.js. So we need to import three. They are importing three as well. So let's import three. And yeah, let's save. And yeah, we have it. Oh, for some strange reason, the second texture isn't flipped. Strange. So let me comment this out. I need to refresh probably, or it is because I changed and I never refreshed. Yeah, so it was working. So I just need to refresh. For some things, when you are doing shaders, the the hot refresh is not working, so you need to refresh yourself. But yeah, we have a texture changing like when we hover, and it is beautiful. Like, and we can rotate around. Of course, we can change this effect, like this liquid effect. You can change by whatever other thing you want. Actually, you can use whatever shader you want just by using the same like thing here. You can change like the effect. Let's try to do something else. I want to change also the background color for the page for that chocolate tone when we hover an element. And this is also, we have an example for that, but I will try to do it like together with you guys here. So first we need to disable, because by default, the canvas is showing the HTML background. So this golden rod here, like, which is actually wrong because we have a different tone for the color. It should be this one, a little bit brighter. Colors are very important on design. Don't change them. Like a minor change on the color intensity can ruin your visuals. So yeah, we don't need a color from the background. I want to change the color. I could change the color for the CSS background, but that would be trickier, I would say. That would require a little bit of more work because we need to use something to animate. So yeah, I want to change the background on the canvas. So I will get rid of this. So we have a white background so we can see now the color is not coming from the background of the page. And then inside our application, I want to change the background on the canvas. And again, let's refer React 3 fiber background color. Like I have this saved so many times. So copy this line. Let's go here. I think we can close this guy. And then the important thing, it needs to be right above the canvas because this attach background will search for canvas to attach the color property, the property argument, let's say, in that thing. So this is important. Yeah, let's paste. Of course, we don't have a background color. I want this hex code here. It needs to be an array. Yeah, now we have the color inside the canvas and not outside, not on HTML part. And then I can control it. So I can somehow have access to this element. So in state, like we are doing this use frame all the time, we are like changing the rotation. And we also have another one inside the chocolate doing use frame all the time here. And I'm just changing like the factor. Use frame is cool because they have a lot of properties. So if you reference here for hooks, and we have like basically everything we can have access when we use the use frame hook. like the use frame. It is this one, and then we have access to other properties inside the use frame. Basically, the scene and we can have access to the things inside the scene. So if I search here for, let me give an example and a better one. I can close this one. Let's go again to the examples. I can remember now one that we are changing. I think we are changing the background on this one. I can remember. Let me see. Yeah, in useFrame we have access to the state and delta, and what we need is to state, because inside state we can, I think, have access to the canvas background color. So let me see console.log state dot gl maybe. No, I can remember clear color state tone mapping. Oh God, I did this so many times, but now I can remember how I did it. Um, so let me think what we can do. I could create a reference for this guy, but that would be overkilling. Maybe I need to refer for something that I did, but yeah, that would be too complicated. Yeah, I think I need to find another way of doing it. So this, like here, let me show you. When we change here, we are changing the color on the background. So we have a tint of color here, but this is a plane. So this is an object. It's not actually the background for the canvas that I want to have access to change. And now I can remember how to change the canvas color using a parameter. Let me try to find it. If we can find, we can leave this for another section, because yeah, we did a kind of too much, and like it's more than a 1 hour now. So I want to keep things under 1 hour for now. But yeah, I will do some research. Probably I will update this file later with the color change for the background. I know, like I did this before, but right now I can't remember how I did it, and it will be too much like just trying to find things like in a live section. So yeah, I hope like this could be helpful for you guys. One important thing. Uh, do you guys see that the overlay is like gone now? Because like remember when I said the overlay needs to be on top of the canvas, and right now it is not on the top. We were seeing the canvas because the canvas was transparent, and then it was showing the overlay. But now we are using the canvas transparency disabled, so we need to make the wrapper z index something else, like 1, 2, whatever, and then we can see the overlay again. And again, once I do this, I lose the control, I lose the click, I lose the mouse movement, because the overlay, it is getting the point events from the canvas. So we can do pointer events none, and now I have it again. So if I need to click on something, I can still do it. They will have the pointer events, but the overlay covering the entire scene will not be using it anymore. So yeah, guys, that's it. I will change, and then I find the thing for the background change, and I will update this file. You can find this on my GitHub. I will also place GitHub, no, on Code Sandbox. I will also place this under the comments in the description of this video. And yeah, I will update for the background change. In the next section, we will do some more advanced stuff, like changing the shader, not using the displacement one, but using another shader to create this kind of transition, add more elements. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. Let's keep in touch and see you guys. Have a great Saturday. Bye bye. And let me find